They're putting balloons out there. I got my pen ready.
Thank you again for actually happy to do our meeting. We appreciate it. And don't
It's their movie. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I'll do it again.
Okay, sorry for the screech earlier, guys. I didn't do it on purpose. But you better be nice to me or I will, okay? Hey, welcome everybody to our Thursday afternoon meeting of the Rotary Club of Tyler. Welcome everybody to the Thursday afternoon meeting of the Rotary Club of Tyler. Okay, fine. We're in a little bit of a hurry today, folks. Make sure that we turn our cell phones off. Okay, and let's go ahead and bring up David Jones for our national anthem, Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll join me in standing, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
David, don't run off. Don't run off. We're getting ready to induct several new members, and the gentleman that was just here is David Jones. He's in charge of orientation for our new members, or if you have questions about Rotary, no matter how long you've been here. So we're going to ask Dave to come on over. Oh, you want to pray? Yeah. Sorry about that.
So we can sit down.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, great and good, thee we thank for daily food. Bless us even as we pray. Guide and keep us safe this day. And let all the people say, Amen. Now you may be seated.
We're going to be just a little bit out of order today, and it's because we at our last board meeting with discussions. Where did our PowerPoint person go? Oh, yeah. Turn this on, please. You don't mind? Oh,
No.
anyway. Since we've had a lot of new members coming into the club, and we like to get to know one another a little bit better, we are about to instill a little program. It's kind of like, why I'm in Rotary, etc. And so our first blush is why I am a Rotarian, and about a 5-minute or less presentation of your story, and you might want to utilize my family background is, My favorite part of my job is my most enjoyable hobby is how I became a Rotarian, or what about Rotary do I like best? Those types of topics to share. And what we may do is start doing that whenever our leadership decides that's what we want to do. Also, we're developing a new member orientation. Ms. Fran Hall did a great job of preparing some information for us, and we're developing a PowerPoint presentation. And I don't have time to share that with you because there are 31 pages of the PowerPoint in this brief, but I just want to introduce it to you. And hopefully in the not too distant future, this will be online. And if you'd like to get a copy, I can email it. But as of today, inducting all of these new members, all of my numbers in there will have to change. So we'll have to keep this updated almost on a weekly basis as we bring in new members. But anyway, just want to let you know that we have this going and be able to, a tool that you could use to bring in new members to join the club. So thank y'all for the brief announcement.
We have several guests and visitors with us today. Jeff Johnson, would you stand? From the South Tyler, he's from the South Tyler Rotary, and he's here visiting the Rotary Club of Colorado. Great to have you. Thank you for the applause. Okay, I want to ask Austin, would you introduce your guest, please? I'm asking you to introduce your guest. That's what I'm doing right now. No, there's not another Austin. Tracy Bailey, do you have a guest? Stand and introduce your guest. Okay, I guess he's shy. All right, that's fine. We'll go on. Sandy Wells, you have a guest.
Yes, I do. I'm happy to introduce Jonathan Rose, as you all certainly know.
Good to have you. Dylan, do you have a guest?
I do. Did I already? I didn't. I do have a guest though. Rebecca, I think this is her third visit with us. So you guys give her a good one.
Yeah.
And Billy Hibbs, you've got a couple of guests, I believe, that need to be introduced.
I do. My Rotarian Tisa Hibbs and my son Stratton Hibbs.
Have I missed anybody that has guests or is a visiting Rotarian? If not, President Bill, you got the mic.
Okay, thank you, Allison. Thank you for standing in for George. I want to thank our greeters for today. That'd be Denise Miller and Trudy Williams. Woo! Yeah, let's hear it for those two ladies. And Rotary Fitness. We've got a volunteer day at the Hand Up Network. If you got any questions about that, go talk to Rochelle. She'll talk to you all you want to know about it, okay? We got a sign-up sheet being circulated. Our district training assembly is May the 21st in Longview from 9 to 2. And our Rotary International Convention is coming to Houston June 4th through 8th. Be sure to register for that if you can go. Get that out of the way. And our program for next week will be Paul Glasser on members that we have lost so far this year.
Nope, it's wrong.
It's
I
wrong?
had it wrong.
It's the celebrities, the top 21 celebrities that we lost in 2021.
Okay, all right. And
My bad.
let me see here. So now it's time for new member inductions, Paul Harris Fellows and a Billy Hibbs Senior Fellow presentation.
But you got Gleiser.
Huh?
Didn't I put Gleiser on there? This
This
week
week
in
in
history.
history, no, it's not on there. So come on up for this week in history. It's not on there.
I'm just standing here. I'm ready to go. Oh, this thing is just. Well, I have to sit down. He's right. It's not on here. On the 28th of April in 1789, 3 weeks into the voyage from Tahiti to the West Indies,
Master's mate Fletcher Christian led a mutiny against William Bly, the captain of the HMS Bounty. Bly and 18 supporters were set adrift in the Pacific Ocean, which is effectively a death sentence. Yet they survived, and they washed up on Timor in the British East Indies, 3,600 miles away, on June 14th. Bly returned to England, commanded other British vessels. Fletcher Christian died a fugitive on Pitcairn Island. On the 29th of April, 1929, the Cleveland Indians played the first Major League Baseball game in which the players had numbers on the backs of their jerseys. But for having been rained out, the New York Yankees were supposed to have had that distinction the day before, with the number 3 on the back of the jersey of Babe Ruth and the number 4 on the back of the jersey of Lou Gehrig, for the simple reason that that was their number in the batting order. The 1960, the Chicago White Sox became the first team with names on the backs of their jerseys. As of today, the New York Yankees are the only team without names on the backs of their jerseys. On the 30th of April, 1993, English computer scientist Tim Berners-Lee published the source code for the first internet browser. Originally calling the browser Mesh, he renamed it to World Wide Web. The release opened the door for use by the public of what would very soon come to be called the Internet. And on the 1st of May, 1931, President Herbert Hoover flipped a ceremonial switch. The lights came on for the first time on the Empire State Building. The building employed as many as 3,600 workers a day during its construction during the depths of the Great Depression. A year after the lighting ceremony, the building was opened, it was still 75% vacant. It stood as the tallest building in the world until 1972, when the World Trade Center towers eclipsed it. On Monday, the 2nd of May, 1939, speaking of Lou Gehrig, after suffering the first symptoms during the 1938 season, New York Yankees first baseman Lou Gehrig took himself out of the starting lineup in the Yankees' 9th game of the 1939 season, ending his consecutive games played record at 2,130. The malady that benched him is now called ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. It's better known simply as Lou Gehrig's disease. On Tuesday, the 3rd of May, 1965, the 173rd Airborne Brigade departed their base at Okinawa, bound for South Vietnam, became the first U.S. Army combat unit committed to the war in Vietnam. By the end of their deployment in August of 1971, the unit would suffer 10,041 casualties with 1,606 killed. 12 of the members of that brigade would win the Medal of Honor. And on the 4th of May, 1979, after winning a majority for her Conservative Party, the day before, Margaret Thatcher was asked by Queen Elizabeth II to form a government, and thus become the first female British Prime Minister. She would serve 3 terms, become the second longest serving PM in British history. Birthdays in the coming week, starting today. Anne Margaret turns 80 today. Willie Nelson tomorrow turns an inexplicable 89. Jerry Seinfeld turns 68 also tomorrow. Frankie Valli turns 87 on Monday. And also on Monday, Arnold George Dorsey. Anybody? All right. Engelbert Humperdinck turns 86 on Monday. And that's this week in history. All right, thanks, Paul. Okay, so it's time for our new member in. We're going to bring up Rochelle.
You're it.
You're it.
You're it. You're it. I'm not it.
You're it now, whether you like it or not. Hi, honey. How you doing?
Sweetheart. I'm
There you
blessed,
go.
blessed. All right. This is so amazing, y'all. I'm honestly truly privileged and honored. We've got 9 inductions to do. Tell me our club is not growing in the most profound way. Love it. Love it. Okay, here's what we've got going on. I've got the privilege today of presenting 9 new Rotarians. Well, they're not new. They've been visiting with us for a while, which I love. Tracy Bailey, who's the bomb. Darren Bondurant, who's just the bomb. Annie Dwyer, the bomb. Catherine Kugel, I hope I said that right. I'm so sorry.
guys need to come up
Hey,
here.
y'all, come on, I'm sorry.
This is part of the hazing process.
Yeah. Kathy Levin, Curtis Scutter, Ryan Two,
You left out Larry. Let it-
and Larry. Come on, they're a team, man. They're a team. Sorry about that, y'all. I apologize. And Dr. Sandra Wells. All have been proposed by the following sponsors. I'm grateful to be Tracy's sponsor, Darren and Annie, Dr. D.M. Edwards, Catherine is Holly Lewis, Larry and Kathy, Dr. David L. Jones, I love it. Curtis, John Miguez, Ryan, Bill Pascal, and Sandy, Pamela Walters, who couldn't be here, so Miss Holly is gonna do amazing and doing that for her. All have been approved for membership in this club by the board of directors in accordance with the Constitution and bylaws of the Rotary Club of Tyler. Approval indicates that this candidate is a worthy representative and supportive of the ideals of the Rotary. Each candidate reflects the high ethical standards expected of all Rotarians and understands that service above self is not just a motto, but a goal that all Rotarians strive for. Each have agreed to accept the obligations attached to membership in Rotary and understands that they will represent Rotary in their public, private, and social life. Let me introduce my candidate to the club, Mr. Tracy Bailey. I just want to, wow, Tracy, come on. Tracy, just such a great guy all the way around, works for Train. He's an entrepreneur. He owns his own tree and landscaping business. He's a DJ. I mean, he is out there making things happen, and I'm truly honored to know you. I just need to ask, with myself as Tracy's sponsor, he does know the 4-way test. You know the 4-way test, and understands it is to be applied to all that you think, say, and do. Does Tracy know the 4-way test and understand that it is applied to all he or she thinks, says, and does?
Yes.
Yes, yes. You have been informed of the requirements of membership in Tyler Rotary. Do you accept them? Agree to uphold the ideals of Rotary and be a vital active part of this club?
Yes, I do.
Whoop, whoop. Great job. Next is DM, Dr. DM Edwards, my favorite.
We're delighted today to introduce both Darren Bondurant and Andy Dwyer. I want to present each of them with their folder and their name tag. There you are.
Thank you.
And we have a Rotary pin for each of you to wear with pride as you join more than 1.2 million Rotarians around the world. And we want to ask them to say a word, give you a little thumbnail sketch about themselves. Andy, start us off, and then Darren.
I was going to say good morning, good afternoon. I am Annie Dwyer. I'm a broker associate with Worth Clark Realty, and most of you know there is no shortage of realtors and brokers in this room. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in Brooklyn, grew up on Long Island, moved to Florida, moved to Phoenix, and then my daughter started having babies. And I came to Texas in 2008. My oldest grand will be 15 in June, and I am happy to be here.
All right.
Yes, one thing I've learned from this club is that when you get a mic, the time limit. Camera roll. So we got to be here a while. Anyway, I'm so thankful to be a part of this Rotary Club. I was at Jeff Johnson's club when I worked at UT Tyler, and during that time, now that I'm retired, I still love and admire, just like the core values of Texas A&M. I seek to find organizations that are wonderful and leading in the aspects of service, lifelong learning, which I do in this club. So many times that DM invited me, I decided you just, have to be here for all of the programs. And then lifelong connections. And it's just like my walk with the Lord. I hope that those are lifelong commitments as well, and lifelong building relationships. I'm thankful that DM invited me and so many others in here that I know. I started in my Rotary service in Longview, though, and I lived in Longview for 33 years, and had the Longview Club as well, Jeff. And I was an incoming president, but I guess I moved at that time and started to work for UT Tyler and made that commitment. I'm from Gulfport, Mississippi, and my home, and I'm a Southern Miss Golden Eagle, but now I bleed maroon and have since I married my husband. It'll be 40 years October. And I should get some extra pin for being married 40 years to a day. But anyway, that's all. I want to say how thankful I am for all the friendly faces and for Holly, who's made this a wonderful process, and I really appreciate it. Can't name all the people, Larry, David, and etc. But I'm very thankful to be a part of this club and learn, listen, grow, serve together.
Thank you, Darren.
Thank you, Garrett. That was awesome. I just really something. I was saying it all. Imagine that.
The first time I met Rochelle, I was at work, and she came and met me in the parking lot. And I became a member of the Better Business Bureau. She had told me about this, so I came out and had lunch with y'all a couple of times, and went to a house party, Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy to be a part of this. I really enjoy it.
Okay, next we've got Holly Lewis. Or do you want to let Bill go, or you tell me? Bill, you want to go next? Okay, y'all. Sorry, we got to keep it mixed up here.
Keep it going, girl.
All right, here we go. Bill Pascal for Ryan 2. Woo.
Hi there, Ryan. I'm gonna sit this down. Yes, I gotta put the folder down. I met Ryan several years ago. I needed some IT help. The guy that I had, let's just say he was proof that I was an equal opportunity employer, okay? And I had to get rid of him, and I just started asking around, and I can't remember who it was. This fellow said, Cody Grace. Yeah, it's Cody, and he's been in here before times. But he said, you need to call Ryan too. She will grab the bull by the horns and get things done. So she came over to the house one day, sat down with Kim and I, and it didn't take 30 seconds for me to realize that this old gal here, if she says she's gonna do something, she's gonna do it. And she came pretty close to joining, what was that, maybe 2-3 years ago, and there were some issues that came up and it just wasn't possible. But true to her word, she said, I'll be back. And here she is. You familiar with the 4-way test?
Yes.
You willing to apply that to your life?
Yes.
Well, then, okay, here's your pen. I'll let you pin that on. And there's your folder. And you can take a few minutes to talk to everybody.
Hey, guys. Thanks, Bill. My name is Ryan too, and I am very excited to be a part of this club, the Tyler Rotary Club. Finally. I have 2 sons, 17 and 11, and I've lived in this area in Tyler for about 11 years, working in the service in the senior healthcare industry. So I'm currently with Briarcliff Health Center. We specialize in accelerated short-term rehabilitation, long-term care, and memory care. And I still have my marketing company doing those things like Bill was talking about. Anyways, I'm excited to finally be a part of the club, and I'm looking forward to all of the volunteer opportunities and the great things that this club does.
All right, thank you, Ryan. And there's my coming back to you.
I'm supposed to pass that.
Well,
Okay.
just keep rolling.
Okay, we got this.
Script is now kind of blown, so we'll just keep
Come on, Holly. Come on, Holly, on up here. You're presenting to Catherine and Sandy. Yay!
Okay, I would like to present first Catherine Kugel, and she's actually a transfer member from our Athens Rotary Club, number 1. And number 2, she does 2 jobs. So she does home health care, administration and intake and all that kind of thing. And then she's also a realtor, so join the realtor group. And then I'd like to introduce Dr. Sandra Wells, and you go by Sandy though.
I go by Sandy.
Even though it's legally Sandra. And she has her own consulting firm and does executive training and all of that kind of thing. So if you have anybody who needs that sort of thing, this is your gal right here. So I'm just gonna let them say a couple quick words and then I'll hand out packets.
Hi, yes, Catherine Kugel, like Google, in case you're wondering. And I got it from my grandfather, who was actually a member of the House of Representatives in 1952. So that's my closest claim to fame so far. Yes, I work for Home Care Network. I love, being a middle person. I'm actually in marketing and sales. So meeting with family members and helping them any way that I can, which is actually what made me miss the Rotary Club here. And I love being a part of the community and working with colleagues and making things happen. So I'm originally from Athens. I lived in Dallas for 10 years and I moved back to Tyler a few years ago. And I'm just so happy to be back here and I'm honored to be a part of your club. Thank you.
Woo! So my name is Sandy Wells, and I've lived now in Tyler for about a year, and I'm very happy. In fact, we signed for our house on May 1st. So actually, April 30th, the trucks came on May 1st. I am also from Long Island, which you will be able to tell when you talk to me for a long period of time, although I was in the Army. My husband was in the Army. I swore both he and my brother in at West Point when he graduated, and we got married 14 days later, and that was 47 years ago. So I think I have y'all beaten on that. We have 3 sons. One is a federal prosecutor whose name is Robert Wells. He is not my son, but my son has the same name as he has, and he is here in Tyler. I have another son who's a commander in the Coast Guard down in New Orleans, and then my youngest son's about ready to retire from the Army. He's a captain up at Fort McCoy. And so all of our sons are gainfully employed by the federal government. All of our sons have happy families. I have 11 grandchildren. So 4 here in Tyler, 4 in Louisiana, 3 up in Wisconsin. So I have truly been blessed. I came from Washington, D.C. area after we had lived in Austin for 14 years. After my husband got out of the Army, we lived in California for a little while, escaped California, came to Texas, lived in Austin for 14 years, and then we took jobs in the DC area. So I became a federal senior executive, and I was the chief learning officer for the Department of the Interior, and then I was at GSA, and I was at OPM, the Office of Personnel Management, where I taught at the Federal Executive Institute, and I also ran the Eastern Management Development Center. So I work with a lot of my clients still. So I think that's probably a good sign. I must have done something right. So I have a consulting practice, and we do team building and training, executive coaching. I work with leaders who are changing roles, and now they want to build a new team. So it's very exciting because I can do that pretty basically on my own schedule. And I'm so grateful that I do not have to drive on Interstate 66 into Washington, D.C. every day, which I did for 17 years. Yay. So thank you. I'm very happy to be here. And yes, I do know the 4-way test.
Thank you. Okay. Yay. Next up is David Jones. Come on with Larry and Kathy. So grateful to have him.
Thank you,
Yes,
Larry.
sir.
Kathy, come join me, please. This delightful couple and I had the privilege of meeting at a fellow Rotarian's Christmas party not long ago. And he said, I need to introduce you to a good-looking young couple that just came to Tyler, and they're really interested in getting engaged in the community. And I said, I like people that want to be engaged. and met them, and come to find out really what we wanted to talk about was veteran work. You have an interest in supporting veterans, and my work with Camp B was a natural conversation. And through that, invited them to come join us here at Rotary. And so they delighted to come and join us and visited several times. And when we said we're going to do the induction today, first thing Kathy said, well, do I get my badge? Yes, ma'am, you do get it. There's no more sticky badges, okay? So if you don't mind sharing a little bit about how you ended up in Tyler from outside of Chicago. Who's going to be the spokesperson for this bunch? Kathy, okay.
That saved you 2 hours worth of talk.
There you go, there you go.
He's a lawyer, so, they can go on forever. But I love him. Yeah, we came from Illinois where we had grown up and raised our family and did all kinds of things. And Larry had been president of the village as one of the things he did in retirement from his years of practicing law and management consulting. And I gave up being a legal administrator to raise kids because 3 full-time jobs was too much. And so anyway, we came here knowing basically no one. Texas seemed like a great place to be. And the Tyler area to me seems very Midwestern, and we like the green and the change of seasons, but mostly we like the people. It just felt right every time we came. And one of the things I love about coming here to Rotary is that we get to learn all about this community that we really didn't know a whole lot about, except that the people were great, and there's medical care. And so anyway, I love that every single week I learn something new and get to meet new people, and they're interesting and giving people, and it's a wonderful place to be. So.
All right, very good. Thank you. As long as you have a cheat sheet, you know for your best. But you also understand that we apply that to every aspect of our lives to be a Rotarian. And so we're delighted to induct you today. And we have a folder of materials. And yes, you get your new member badge. And yes, you also get a lapel pin. Normally, we try to pin those, but sometimes I don't do very well pinning things on other people. So if you don't mind, thank you.
So awesome. Okay.
Last but certainly not least, we've got John Miguez. If I said that right. Presenting Curtis. We're so glad to have you, Curtis.
Okay, I'm gonna introduce, this guy right here is my closest neighbor, and he liked us so much that his office is like 2 doors down from my office here in Tyler. He's an Allstate guy. So I think you know the 4-way test. Okay. So I'll let you tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
All right, so as I said, my name is Curtis Scutter, born and raised in the Tyler area, all the way to my dad's grandparents on that side. Some of you may be familiar with the Scutters or even the Brumbelows in the East Texas area. Graduate of Chapel Hill High School. Been in Tyler pretty much my whole life other than a 3 years spent in El Paso, which is not Tyler. It is a little different. I did manage to duck hunt while I was in El Paso, which was pretty impressive on the Rio Grande, so that was neat. Been in sales and marketing pretty much my entire career. A little nervous with big crowds. But working for Suddenlink for a better part of 10 years. Don't hate me if your cable went out. I was in sales, didn't fix it. And then had a great opportunity to come mix 2 things that I really love, serving people and being in sales, to get into the insurance industry, where I truly think it's one of the, Dylan could probably speak, one of the most mutually beneficial sales roles you can be in. Just worked in that for about 3 years. And April 1st took over as the sole agent owner of the Curtis Scutter Allstate Agency, located just up the street at the end of Grande here before you hit old Jacksonville. I have a beautiful wife that is a physical therapist with the Christus Group, We've been married, I guess I'm the shortest one at 8 years this June. I have 2 beautiful daughters, Parker Grace and Riley Joe, 5 and 3. They're the pseudo grandchildren of John here. They could often be heard yelling, "Mr. John!" across the pasture. We swap eggs for cookies with John's wife. That's great. Love East Texas. I love being part of this. So thankful for an opportunity to be part of a group like this. Just very proud and thankful. Thanks.
I got a little innovative because I put your pen and everything all there together. So, and as Bill says, it's not a goal now.
Absolutely.
What was the word you used earlier? A mission anyway. Okay, who's next?
Yay, we did it, y'all. Thank y'all for bearing with me. I just want to say to all the candidates, this is so exciting. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Rotary Club of Tyler, you are hereby inducted into membership. Y'all been presented with your Rotary emblems, which they may wear with pride as you join more than 1 million other Rotarians around the world. Let me tell you. Oh, come on, y'all, stand up. Good job, y'all. We'll get pictures at the end. Thank y'all for bearing with me. Appreciate it.
What a great day in the life of our club to induct so many fabulous new members.
Amazing.
Many of you that are longtime a part of District 5830 know that currently the largest club in the district is Longview-Gregton out of the 44 clubs in District 5830. I think they have about 120 members. I believe we can throw down the challenge if we come up with another 9 great new members. I believe we can beat the Longview-Gregton. We want to recognize the new Paul Harris Fellows in our club at this time. And before I ask each one to come up to receive their award, I want to take just a moment to talk about how the Paul Harris Fellowship came into being. Back in February of 1905, there was a small group of people that met in downtown Chicago to form the first Rotary Club. Amongst those original Rotarians at that first meeting was Paul Harris, who was an attorney, Sylvester Sheely, who was a coal dealer, and Harry Ruggles, who was a printer. And Harry later became the first song leader for Rotary clubs there in Chicago. And Rotary's grown from that small beginning to encompass over 34,000 with millions of Rotarians and Rotaractors around the world. And the way the Paul Harris Fellowship began, 42 years later after the beginning of Rotary, when Paul Harris passed away, they established the Paul Harris Fellowship in his honor as the founder of Rotary, and all contributions for Paul Harris Fellowships go into the corpus of the Rotary International situation across the years. The ones that we want to honor today, and we'll move up from the first Rotary Paul Harris Fellowship to multiple ones. I want to ask Patty Eccles. She's out of town today, but we want to certainly mention her name, and we'll recognize her at a later meeting. The next one, present today, we want to present you with the Harris Fellowship pin. I'll let you open up the box and show it to the club here. And every Rotarian has an opportunity to become a multiple Paul Harris Fellowship, starting with the first one. And so delighted to congratulate you today on receiving your first fellowship. The next one to come up, and this is Paul Harris Fellowship +1, is Dr. Allison Cambry, our president-elect. We're delighted to present you with your second Paul Harris tip. And you can open up the box here and show that to the club members.
I'm speechless, really.
Beautiful pin there. Congratulations to you. And then also Paul Harris, +1. I'd like to ask Reverend Jim Schamberger if he would make his way up here to the front. We want to present you with your Paul Harris +1 pin here. There we go. Congratulations to you. And then Jim Dwyer Jr., if you would make your way up here to the front. And we want to honor Jim Blair Jr. He is receiving the Paul Harris +2 pin today. Some of these new club members don't know it. Tell them how many years you've been a member of Tyler Rotary.
About 37.
Wow, what a record. Here is your box with your Paul Harris Fellowship pin +2.
Woo, Jim!
It's a wonderful achievement. There it is. There it is. Congratulations to you. And then Pamela Walters is out today on a medical procedure. We'll present her a Paul Harris Award later date, but I want you to know that she's receiving the Paul Harris +4 pin. And then at this time, many of you know about our individual Paul Harris Time Fellowship for our club, Billy Hibb Senior Fellowship, and to present one at this time.
Woo! Billy!
Thank you, DM. Appreciate it so much. When my dad first asked me to come to Rotary, it was about 1989, and my wife teased it. It was more of a statement, and he was the boss. I said, sure. And so I've been coming ever since, and it's been a great ride. The one thing I wanted to mention today that all of you did in honor of him was when he gave his farewell address, he asked the club to do one thing. It's not one nation, comma, under God, even though the entire rest of the world says it like that. But when you come to Rotary and you say one nation under God, that was the one thing he asked of the club. And thank you all for continuing to do that. So, in the, So, I tried to come up with some information that would be very helpful to all of you who are new, particularly with all the new members. Congratulations to you about this particular award. And I was so nice because Holly found the original press release that went out in special honor in an emotional ceremony to current member and past president Billy Hibb Sr. last Thursday. The Tyler Rotary Club has its own local foundation modeled after the Rotary International Foundation. Gifts to the Rotary International Foundation of $1,000 or more allow Rotary the Paul Harris Fellow distinction. Paul Harris was the founder of Rotary in 1905. The Tyler Rotary Club will henceforth designate $1,000 givers to the Tyler Rotary Foundation as Billy Hibb's Fellows. We thought this was an appropriate way to honor a man who has given so much to the Tyler Rotary Club and the community, explained John G. Payne, president. And thank you, John, again, for doing this. John also was very instrumental in setting up all of the paperwork and the documents so that we could have our own foundation. The Hibbs Family Foundation that Billy Hibbs formed has been our single largest funding source over the years and has allowed the Rotary Club to expand its service both locally and internationally. Several of the projects noted by Payne included the major park improvements at the St. Louis School, medical missionary work in Belize, dental and healthcare clinics for the Texas Missions of Mercy and projects at Bethesda Health Clinic and the East Texas Crisis Center. Hibbs, who was unable to attend the ceremony due to health problems, and my dad died of early onset Alzheimer's disease, for those of you that didn't know that, was also awarded the Distinguished Service Citation for his support to the club dating back to 1967. He was represented by his wife, Jeannie Hibbs, son, grandson Stratton, and granddaughter London Hibbs, who's because she's at school at UCLA. Billy is extraordinarily touched by this kind gesture, as is our whole family, said Jeannie Hibbs, who serves as president of the Hibbs Family Foundation. So that's the story behind it. It's not me, it's my dad. And again, our family was greatly honored when John Payne launched the idea of setting this up. So we have an award recipient today who does not know this is coming. The gift was made anonymously for this person, and that person's name is Mary Bryant. So Mary, could you come forward, please? I said, we've been friends for a long time, and that's why I call her by her maiden name, Mary Bryant. So yeah, it's a hard break when you have your kids, but we went to school together, we went to church together, and we've just known each other for a long time. And I was so thrilled the day that you joined the Rotary Club too. So I get to see you once a week. So anyway, we appreciate whoever that anonymous donor was. Thank you. Would you like to say a few words?
I don't have anything to say. Beyond taking it back. Thank you, Billy.
Mary does a great job with the club and has been instrumental in so many aspects of this. It couldn't go to a better person. So congratulations.
Thank you, Billy, and congratulations to all the Paul Harris Fellows and our Billy Hibbs Fellow. Even though she's not a fellow, she's a yeah. And let me encourage all the new members, and I don't need to say this to quite a few of you, but don't be shy. If you see something that looks interesting and you want to get involved with it, just go to the person who's in charge and tell them you want to help out. They're not going to tell you no. I can promise you that. So dive right in, make a splash, and don't be afraid to have a little fun. All right. So now it's time for our Ace of Diamonds Award. JB, how much do we have in there this week, sir? Yeah. Okay. Why don't you get married to draw that out?
It is 9853.
9853.
Ah,
Who has that ticket?
donor ticket.
Donor ticket. Queen of Hearts. Okay, I want to ask all the new members, the Paul Harris Fellows, the Billy Hibbs lady, stick around for a few minutes after the meeting. We're going to take some pictures in front of the banners. And now it is time to stand. And we recite the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do as Rotarians. First, build better friendships. Fourth,